All right, welcome back here to Mountain Brook. Greg Sankey to introduce Oklahoma men's coach Porter Moser.
Porter Moser became a household name back in March of 2018 when he led Loyola of Chicago to the Final Four, moving through games in Dallas and then in Atlanta to capture 4 consecutive wins, putting Loyola in that Final Four. His career could have taken a very different path because after his playing career at Creighton, where he was under the tutelage of head coach Tony Baroni, Porter's father, Jim, asked him to come back to Naperville, Illinois and work in the family lumber business. Instead, with his father's blessing, he launched into the coaching profession. He's had 21 seasons as a head coach, Arkansas, Little Rock, Loyola, Chicago, now Oklahoma, where overall he's been able to amass during that coaching career 367 career victories. I think we all in the basketball world noted the loss last week of Sister Jean. Porter, along with a whole lot of folks in the basketball community, mourned that passing. She became synonymous with Porter's teams at Loyola of Chicago, and her legacy extended even beyond his move to Chicago, and I know that relationship did as well. In Porter's tribute to honoring Sister Jean, he promised to continue to respect her mission of serving others. Early in Porter's career, as a young assistant at Texas A&M, he met his wife, Megan. Well, they're both living in College Station now, 28 years later. They just celebrated their 28th wedding anniversary. They have 4 children, Jordan, Jake, Ben, and Max. Coach 32 of 32, Porter Moser from the University of Oklahoma.
Thank you, Commissioner Sankey. Pleasure to be here. I want to commend everybody out there and with everybody with SEC Media today that I am 32 of 32, that you guys have amazing resiliency, persistence, and dedication to your jobs. So I know you want me to say an opening statement, but I know you've probably heard a million of the same things. I'm super excited with my team. I leaned into the portal with grace and confidence and optimism, and we've had a great start of the season. I'm looking forward to get going. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, raise your hand. Emma and Lorna have microphones. So we'll go ahead and start here on the second row with Kevin.
Hi, Porter. Kevin Skarbinski with the SEC blog. How would you describe your first ride through the SEC last year?
You know, I've been asked that a lot, and I just joked with some people out there. The 4 years I've been at Oklahoma, I've been in the #1 rated basketball conference all 4 years. I'm Tony Gwynn, I'm 4 for 4. Looking at what the SEC signed this year, I'm gonna be Ichiro. I'm gonna be 5 for 5. That's how good I think the SEC is gonna be this year. But I think the thing that you've gotta have, when you're in a league this loaded, there's gotta be some resiliency with your team through tough times. And I thought that's what we had last year. You know, I really thought we were playing our best at the end, through some adversity, coming back and really having a great run at the end, and just to talk with our guys about those life lessons. But this league is deep. I think it's where everyone wants to go. I was asked a question earlier about how hard it is to get your guys ready to play or to play in the SEC, and I said, not hard, that's where they want to be. That's where everyone wanted to be. The best stage, the best players, the most players drafted the last 5 years, and go on and on. So the players want to be in this league, but they got to be ready. It is a resilient run of 18 straight plus the tournament.
Coach, we'll go back to Myron in the middle.
Myron McAvius being Porter, obviously Sister Jean, everyone saw, you know, her role and what she did for you at Loyola. What are the things that maybe people don't know? You know, we obviously saw the Final Four run, but what were your fondest memories of her?
You know, my fondest memory, Sister Jean, you know, she meant everything to all of us before she became in her words, the international star, not the national star. You know, she was, I remember coming out of, we had to park in a parking garage about 100 yards from our arena. And that's where her office was. And she lived across the street from the parking garage. And at 98 years old, see, the whole country saw her in a wheelchair. See, I never knew her in a wheelchair until that winter of the Final Four year. She was always running around in her Nike shoes that had on the back of one said sister and the back of the other said Jean. So I remember coming out one night, I was making recruiter calls. It had to be 8:30 at night. I was coming out, and it was cold, really, really cold. And she lived in the dorms by herself, self-sufficient. Now think about that. When you think about people in all your lives, they get to a certain age and you're like, assisted living or whatever. She's 98 by herself living in the dorms with the students. So I remember walking out and she had her bag and she's hopping across and I said, sister, jump in, I'll take you across the street to there. She's like, no, this is great for me. It had to be 10 degrees. And I just remember her smile on her face. I remember her being such a basketball fan. Like she loved my kids, but I remember she sat behind my kids. My kids always joke about this when my kids about this big. She shushed my kids. They're making noise like, shh, I'm trying to watch the game. Like she was a huge fan of the game. So as my heart is so sad, I talked to her on her 106th birthday. I went back for her 105th birthday party. I took my team to Chicago last year. She prayed with my team at Oklahoma. We were her second favorite team. So as my heart is sad, it's also joy and gratitude that she was in my life. I vibe with energetic, positive people. I'll never meet someone who had such a positive attitude and poured that attitude into other people more than Sister Jean. And I was blessed to be her friend. And I fly from here to be there at the celebration tomorrow morning.
Back up here, second row.
How do you replace a guy like Jeremiah Fears with everything that he brought to you?
Yeah, replacing Jeremiah. So Jeremiah was, I mean, man, he got better and better and better. And such a dynamic speed for the SEC. That's what I look at. He brought us such speed. But I think we went out in the portal and got two older guards that have been on the stage a lot. You know, Nigel Pack has been, he's been on, all Big 12. He's played on the stage of a Final Four. And I know this, having coached guys that been to the Final Four, like Cameron Krutwig, Lucas Williamson, Clayton Custer. When they come back, it's not like they're satisfied. They want that again. And I have that veteran hungry that Nigel brings. And then we got Xavier Brown, another veteran in the backcourt, played at St. Joe's. Great league in the A-10, was first team all-league there. So I got a backcourt that have been all first team all-conference in two different very good leagues. So I know the combination of them, and Dayton Forsyth played a lot last year for us. He's another combo point guard that we have. And I'll say this about Dayton. Not that I'm trying to help his NIL because there's Spark Plugs, that's what his nickname is, but there's not a lot of freshmen that came off the bench last year and had 3 double-figure games. I don't know if there's 10 of them that came off the bench and had 3 double-figure games. Dayton Forsyth was one of them. And I think he's a guy that got valuable experience last year. So it's going to be by committee. I think we got some veteran guys, and then we got another guy that was here last year that played that are all ready to come in and fill that role.
Go back down here.
How important is it to find guys that have won? You brought in another, Darian Reed from Alabama, obviously. He's used to winning. What does that do for your program when you have to change over the roster the way you did?
Well, I think it's an interesting dynamic because people are in the portal because they want something different, right? They want maybe a lot of different things. But you have guys that tasted winning that they want that again too. And, this year, there's been so much talk about the last, 4 years in the portal, and I'm just all about leaning into it. Everyone came to me, they said, Porter, you were a program at Loyola where you developed guys. This has got to be driving you crazy. And I went through probably that time period. But now I'm completely leaning into it. You get a freshness about getting new guys. You get an enthusiasm of guys coming on your campus for the first time, getting ready for a new situation. So I've leaned into these 4 guys. They all played at a high level. That was important to me. Winning mattered to all 4 of them. That was important to me. I wanted to add length. I just going a night in and night out of the SEC. It's the first thing you really notice is the length, athleticism, and talent of the SEC. Adding Tay Davis at 6'9", Darian Reed at 6'8", gives you 2 very versatile guards. Then we got the 2 guards I just spoke about. So I think that's what we leaned into. Guys that have been on that stage, that are not going to have this huge adjustment period going against the SEC, and then combining it with some guys that were in your program. I think one guy I was just talking about is Mo Wagee. Mo Wagee is a guy that's really, I'm hoping, picks up where he left off. When Sam Godwin got hurt last year, Mo played those last 5 games. In 20 minutes a game, he averaged 9 and 6. Think about that. And those were all high-level games. Missouri, Texas, Georgia, Kentucky, UConn. Mo Wagee averaged 9 and 7, averaging 20 minutes a game. Having him come back, I think, is really going to be pick up where he left off, and I love how he's been.
Okay.
How valuable is it now that, and this wasn't the case years and years ago, that you do have that time in the summer when you are putting together a roster with so many newcomers, that they have time to bond and gel, and maybe you have time to work with them that you didn't have maybe back in the day?
You know, I think the last thing you said was the key, is bonding and gelling. You know, guys nowadays, like I look at the guys that we sign in the portal. You don't have to beg them to get in the gym. They're going to be in the gym. They're going to live in the gym. Guys nowadays, if you got to worry about guys getting in the gym and working, it's more about having them come together, because you've got to form a bond so that when distractions start happening during the season, a loss or jealousy, whatever it may be, they've come together. That's why it's important. I can't imagine them not getting together and all of a sudden in September they're getting together. So to me, it's more important. I mean, we can all say the practice time. I love it. I'm a practice guy. But like, they're going to get in the gym. They're going to work out. We're limited in hours anyways. It's that time together, hanging out, spending that time in the summer, getting to know each other so they can create a bond faster than when they come back in the fall.
Coach Moser, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, we're good.